My name is Aniruddha. I'm a product manager here at Google Cloud, part of the cloud networking team. Again, my focus area is primarily around Cloud WAN. I'm sure all of you have heard the excitement and the buzz that we had post our Cloud Next session. And again, what makes this extra special this year is having a call out by our CEO Sundar in his keynote. And again, it just goes on to say the volume of importance that this has, especially now that we are truly and well into the AI era. So again, getting this session started, as customers have kind of onboarded the cloud adoption over the years or over at least the last decade or so, the access patterns have still been more or less the same. So we haven't seen a lot of changes there. Customers over time have built these bespoke networks, which again might rely on leased line infrastructure or MPLS providers, which may not give them that agility or the fast pace that they need to adopt cloud and all of the new things that are coming out with AI. So what we have often seen is by having these multiple bespoke networks spread across all areas of their network, the consistency in terms of applying the same consistent security posture is often a challenge. Not to mention, managing a lot of these providers has its own set of challenges from a day-to-day operations perspective. Customers often complain of not having that visibility, the end-to-end visibility that we often need when it comes to having observability into our traffic flows. And again, finally, by dealing with these bespoke networks, we are often seeing the adoption is a lot slower. So, customers are slow to adopt, slow to evolve to the new requirements, slowing their overall pace of innovation. So finally, the solution that we have for you now is Cloud WAN. This is our one network which is built for the enterprise era. Again, it's a fully managed backbone solution that is backed by Google's planet scale, highly performant, highly reliable network. And this is the same network that we have, which powers billions of users across the globe. Every day when you come to access YouTube, I heard somebody access YouTube, right? So when you come to access YouTube, maps, photos, even our cloud infrastructure, all of this is powered by the same network that now we are opening up to our cloud customers. What we are trying to achieve here is, again, from the architecture here is having that any-to-any connectivity. So as you can see, we want to position Cloud WAN as that centerpiece when it comes to enabling all of the connectivity that you have. Now, that could be your branch offices, it could be your data centers, it could be other cloud providers, services, applications running in the cloud, on the internet, and the works. The benefit of Cloud WAN and the way we are trying to position this is, while offering a lot of these additional value-added services, we are also able to allow customers to get up to 40% savings when it comes to their total cost of ownership. Now, again, while we are also giving them the benefit of reducing their total cost of ownership, we are also giving them the benefit of getting up to 40% improvement in the overall application performance. And again, this could be based on the overall end-to-end applications performance, the overall latency. So again, it's effectively a win-win-win for our cloud customers. Looking at some of the use cases that we are trying to target to unblock by using Cloud WAN, the two that immediately come to mind is enabling high performance connectivity. And again, this is where we are trying to have that one network presence where it comes to connecting data centers, branch offices, other cloud networks. And the other use case that we are trying to unblock with Cloud WAN is migrating those branch offices, migrating those campus network, and consolidating them into this Google ecosystem by allowing customers to get the benefit of the high performance, the high reliability. So let's look at the first use case. So again, when you look at a typical customer's cloud onboarding journey, right, this is kind of where they are at. They might have data center presence, they might have co-location facilities, they already might have a presence in Google Cloud. For some of the more advanced, more mature customers, they might already have adopted that multi-cloud approach. So they already have other cloud providers in addition to Google Cloud. Now, so far, we already have a couple of services that have helped customers get that highly reliable, highly performant network that Google has to offer. And by that, I mean your cloud interconnects, which lets you enable the site to cloud connectivity. This is again an SLA backed, high bandwidth, low latency network. And we also have started to offer cross cloud interconnects, which lets customers for allowing customers for connecting from, let's say, Google Cloud to some of the other cloud providers. Now, these two services have been around for a while now, where a lot of customers have seen great adoption of having that multi-cloud approach, having a reliable direct connection into the Google Cloud network. But if you look closely at the co-location piece there, any site-to-site connectivity, even today, is relying on the leased line infrastructure, or it's relying on your MPLS providers. So that often puts customers in a situation where they're dealing with a lot of these individual providers, individual networks. Often these networks are not ready for scaling and quickly adapting to the newer cloud requirements. So here's what we are announcing, where in addition to the cloud interconnects and the cross-cloud interconnects, we are now also offering something known as cross-site interconnect. Cross-site interconnects now bridges that last piece where, in addition to having site-to-site connectivity, in addition to having site-to-cloud connectivity, cloud-to-cloud connectivity, we are now also offering site-to-site connectivity. Cross-site interconnect, again, is something that allows customers to have layer 2 connectivity across their different sites. And again, the benefit here is it's still relying and still dependent and backed by the same infrastructure that the cloud interconnect is powered on, the cross-cloud interconnect is powered on. So the customers can now expect the same level of performance even when using cross-site interconnect. With layer 2 connectivity, again, Google Cloud becomes the first major provider to allow customer traffic to be onboarded onto its network using layer 2. Again, this network that we talk about, it's global, it's highly reliable, it's a fully managed SLA-backed network. So in that sense, customers can be guaranteed of all the wonderful features that we have to offer when it comes to performing, giving high performance, providing part diversity, and also the reliability that comes along with it. Customers can now choose from a physical capacity, which could be either 10 gigs or 100 gigs or multiples of these, to have that end-to-end connection built across their different sites. The other benefit that you can see here is, in my diagram here, you see there is no reference of a VPC network or a cloud router. So what we have effectively done is we have decoupled the cloud infrastructure from this site-to-site connectivity piece. So that way customers are able to still get the benefit of having site-to-site connectivity while decoupling their cloud infrastructure. Okay. Now, some customers, again, when we work with them, we often get this question, well, but why? Why do I need cross-site interconnect? Why can't I just build all of this by myself? The short answer is it's hard. It's very hard in today's day and age to have a global footprint of a fully managed, scalable network, which has part diversity, which has the capacity to scale up to your needs. So that's where some customers opt for a DIY approach, where they might be purchasing or procuring wavelengths from different providers in different parts of the world and then stitching them together. Now, the problem with that approach is when you're trying to do this self-stitched network, you're often losing out on that end-to-end visibility. You're dealing with independent providers, you're dealing with independent SLAs. You're not able to get that one network which lets you get that end-to-end visibility into your traffic. Especially when it comes to an outage situation. Now, again, a lot of these deployments are running under the sea. It's subsea cable optics. In case of a failure situation, there is now different providers the customer has to work with. It could also lead to a cascading bit of failure where every bit of fiber that's backed up is also being impacted. So this is where the value proposition of cross-site interconnect is. We are able to present ourselves as one Google network to all of our customers, so they are not dealing with disparate providers. I'm sure you've heard this already, but we already have 2 million miles of fiber presence across the globe. So that's a lot where we are owning and managing and operating these subsea cables. Again, the number of subsea cables that we own and operate are about 30 or more, which is again probably the highest in the industry. So again, considering all of that, cross-site interconnect does offer this, wonderful value proposition to our customers that they can use for site-to-site connectivity.
Is this Guy Courier Future? Is this roughly a virtualized or abstracted managed service that you're providing, essentially? Because you have way stations to deal with and your own connection points, but it's presented as something unified, but you're just managing that. Is that right?
I would still go on to say it's a Google managed, owned, and operated offering. So that way we are still in control. So we are not relying on our third-party providers or one of the other vendors to, so to speak, connect or offer that connectivity to our cloud. So we are not trying to to use the word subcontract it out to other providers. So this, once you get on the Google backbone network, that's our network that we manage. We have our SRE teams that maintain, monitor, audit these networks constantly. So it's always going to be our network that we are able to offer to our customers.
Those data center endpoints, those are not necessarily Google Cloud data centers.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So there must be some regional variability. Interregional variability in availability of the cross-site interconnect.
True.
Yes.
The edge locations or the co-location facilities are still going to be a shared infrastructure where you can pick up any one of the major co-location providers. We might have a presence there, so that's the shared bit of infrastructure that we are offering. That's where the customers connect into our backbone network. But broadly speaking, the network itself becomes that one Google network that we have.
I guess in the end, do customers have to concern themselves first with your availability map against their current, topology?
Yes.
That's the wrong word, but yeah, they should consider that first.
Absolutely. So I think having the right presence at the right co-location facility is also important. So to your point, right? Let's say the customer has presence across EU, in APAC, in the North America. We have a list of co-location facilities where we are able to offer this connection. And again, they can have a dropout in any one of the other locations as well. So it is important to kind of have a close alignment between what we have in terms of our co-location and edge locations and the customer's availability to also meet us at that point.
Okay, thanks.
So the site-to-site requires an SD-WAN vendor?
Great question. So I do... Okay, let me actually get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so short answer is no. No. So the benefit there is, since we are offering this at a layer 2 level, we are basically just handing it off to the customers to basically provision their pseudo-wires on top of it. And it doesn't actually, they could prefer to have an SD-WAN overlay if they want to, but there is otherwise no dependency that they have to deploy an SD-WAN implementation. They could just terminate it on their existing routing infrastructure and also still provision the pseudo-wires that they need.
And that's for the colos as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And just so we're clear, I know we have titles on slides, but there's this notion of the Google Cloud Partner Interconnect.
Yes.
And then there is the advantage of what Guy is, this notion of you're within the Google network.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the extension of that Google network, possibly to a real estate investment trust, a third party, a colo, an adjacent campus. That connection, that's the partner interconnect, yes?
Slightly different.
Okay.
The partner interconnect, so I think that term is primarily associated with our cloud interconnect offering.
Okay.
So when you are dealing with cloud interconnects, the customers have an option to either peer directly with Google, so that's our dedicated interconnect. But let's say if customers need a sub 10 gig connection, and that's where our partners come into play, where they get the partner interconnects provision. And again, that helps provision the site to cloud connectivity piece. And that's the partner interconnect.
And so this layer 2 connectivity that you're referring to, that's like high capacity, low latency, not necessarily a Google managed end-to-end though. Where's the demarcation?
So yeah, up to the demarcation, it would be the Google provided network. Yeah, and then it kind of fans out to where the customer wants it to be.
So Jim Sprinsky for ZDC. Just curious, with companies like Oracle down the street, expanding the number of regions they have, it would seem to me that this would be a compelling case for them to latch on to your environment, right? Put their stuff in your data centers and so forth and so on. But question, what about government level? Are there different levels, in, like L4, L5 for this as well, or how would this play out?
Right. So I think from a security standpoint, I think that stack is still evolving, is what I would say, at least at this point. The target again at this point was more of our enterprise cloud footprint, where more of your banking infrastructure or other FMCG providers. I think they are the ones that we really want to kind of immediately kind of focus on, where they typically have these branch office connectivity. But it's a great point you bring up in terms of having some level of regulation also tied into this offering, which we can also then have our government customers use it for.
Okay, thanks.
Quick time check. Okay, 9 more minutes. Okay. So again, the proof is in the pudding. So we like to call out one of our key customers here who've kind of deployed Cloud WAN for their infrastructure. And again, the benefits that they had to call out there was it helped enhance the stability and the reliability of their broad network. So it's something that we've already deployed, tried, tested with our live customers. So we can definitely bring that up as a success story when it comes to using Cloud WAN. Moving on to that second use case, right? So this is where we really want to focus on the SD-WAN implementation. So the second use case that Cloud WAN helps to unblock is consolidating these branch offices or these different networks that customers have built over the years. The benefit here is, or the value proposition that we are trying to pitch here is, bring in your SD-WAN headend into cloud. So this is where you're now deploying, let's say, from one of our partner ecosystems, you're bringing in a vendor, you're deploying that virtual appliance into Google Cloud, and now you're also pairing that up with our premium tier networking. So premium tier networking has also been something which has been around for a long time. What we are trying to pitch here, or we are trying to deploy here, is bring in that SD-WAN appliance, connect all of these branches into Google Cloud using our fast premium tier network. And again, the benefit here is, as you kind of, sorry, I skipped here. As you still bring in these SD-WAN headends into cloud, there is a cost reduction that customers have often quoted, where now we don't have to deal with these bespoke MPLS network, leased line contracts, things like that. Just by offloading everything to premium tier networking, we are able to bring in and consolidate a lot of our networks. From a partner ecosystem perspective, we have quite a few vendors listed here in the SD-WAN space. So again, I'm sure most of you are familiar with these vendors. And again, the list is growing. So we have a lot of options when it comes to selecting an SD-WAN appliance provider of the customer's choice. Now, remember I mentioned two things, right? There is the first part, which is bringing in the SD-WAN appliance. But how do we make sure the connectivity is fast? How do we make sure the connectivity is reliable? That's where our premium tier networking comes in. So again, premium tier networking is not something new. It's been around for a long time, where we offer this way of routing traffic as close as possible to the source. So again, as you can see from the graphic here, traffic enters the Google backbone network as close as possible to the edge. So that way we are able to absorb and ingest that traffic right into our network as close as possible to the edge. So that way, the customers are now not dependent on the health of the internet, suboptimal routing, things that happen typically with ISPs, and get on our backbone network to get the performance benefits that we call out before. So when you look at the traditional, routing that we see in the internet today, you will typically go from a branch office through ISP 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And every time you add a hop, every time you add an ISP, you're introducing a latency. That's the performance penalty that customers are often complaining, where, hey, our cloud infrastructure is fast, our data center infrastructure is fast, but this last mile connection is often reducing or hampering that connection into cloud and cloud services. The reason we are able to get as close as possible to the user is, as you can see, we are ranked #1 when it comes to the BGP peering ranking amongst all cloud providers. So that's the reason why we are able to get as close as possible to the user and their ISPs to get their traffic onto us. Now, another little piece of this puzzle is also, what about the last mile? Even that last ISP is something where customers come back to us asking, give us your best recommended, give us your most reliable ISP that can help us connect into Google Cloud. So that's where we have kind of also launched a new program, which is the verified peering program. This is a way of, for us, Google, to badge these ISPs as vetted, validated, highly performant, reliable ISPs that can help enterprises connect into Google Cloud. So again, normally an approach similar to the partner interconnect story, right? We also have a direct peering story where ISPs typically have peering relationship directly with Google to get the public IPs announced. Enterprises often don't have the bandwidth to go through the process, to go through the requirements, meet the requirements, and be onboarded onto direct peering. So that's where VPP is the solution, where, as you see, we have a list of these ISPs that are now able to that customers are now able to reliably get on to get to the fastest Google backbone network that we have.
Real quick,
Yes.
Jay again from Nexus Tech. When you've added these VPPs, are the VPPs signing up for like, and here is the Google supplied, appliance that's going to be deployed into your network operation, and you're going to give those telemetry information back to Google for processing to keep you in that verified and vetted state?
Great question. So the VPP program is primarily meant for validating the access pattern itself. The telemetry, the observability, that's more something that, again, the customer, because again, the customer is still working with the ISP.
So there's a shared responsibility?
There is a shared responsibility. Okay. But some caveats there is, we have a few ISPs that are also able to offer the last mile SLA. So just to kind of complete that story, we have the SLA built into the Google Cloud infrastructure. We are now also able to have some VPPs who are able to give us that last mile SLA as well. So given,
verified, not guaranteed.
Yeah,
verified.
Okay, exactly.
Thank you.
Yes.
So just to clarify, so if the location is on the Google backbone, then you don't need SD-WAN. But if it isn't, then you need an SD-WAN overload, because it's got to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rephrase the question, right? Yeah, no.
So the question has sort of smoothed out by, like, depending on it is an existing on the Google backbone, or not.
Or not.
And then it has to be on the SD-WAN.
Okay, yes.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. So again, we need success stories, which again speak volumes to the benefits of using and unblocking these use cases with Cloud WAN. So again, Nestle was another success story that we have, who adopted Cloud WAN in their existing network deployment. Again, kind of the scope of their deployment was, across 120 countries, 1,500 branch locations. So they had a pretty large footprint. And the way their architecture was structured is, they had a managed telco provider who kind of helped build that MPLS network for them, manage that connectivity, manage that SD-WAN overlay, while Nestle was managing the cross-cloud connectivity aspect of it. From a security standpoint, they had a lot of these physical devices that were sitting at their data center locations or the colo facilities to actually do the firewall inspection or security inspection. Now, the challenge that Nestle had was, again, they wanted a cost-efficient, scalable, and reliable system that was still able to give them that end-to-end visibility into all of their traffic. So this is where Cloud WAN kind of helped supported that requirement by first onboarding the SD-WAN headend onto Google Cloud. They were able to completely decommission their MPLS networks and use premium tier network to connect directly over the internet into these SD-WAN. So all of these branches are now able to run these SD-WAN overlays on the internet using premium tier network with a VPP provider to consolidate all of this connectivity into Google Cloud. Now, the benefit that they called out was, again, this is coming from the customer, is they were able to see up to 40% improvement on the latency by onboarding onto premium tier networking and VPP. There's obviously a cost benefit by decommissioning a lot of these old MPLS circuits. They were able to see a lot of value in terms of using premium tier networking. And finally, now they have the ability to even go ahead and decommission these older firewall and physical devices which are sitting in their data centers, but instead have a managed stack running in Google Cloud with the integration of NCC Gateway. So again, I'm right around 10 seconds.
Can I ask you?
Go ahead, yeah.
So So is this integrated? I mean, is it exposed, managed? Does it look like another Google Cloud service essentially? Is it part of the same admin console or is it separate?
Yes, great question. So everything that we've talked about is available through your console. So when it comes to deploying cross-site interconnects, when it comes to deploying cloud interconnects, cross-cloud interconnects, SD-WAN, which could be your router appliance as a spoke of NCC, NCC gateway, all of this is now part of that same console that customers already use today when accessing Google Cloud.
And what's the onboarding experience?
Onboarding
experience.
Experience.
Yeah. So if you're qualifying in terms of locations and all this other sort of stuff, you kind of sit around, get some progress reports, and then bibbity boom, and there it appears.
Yeah, sure. So maybe I can answer it slightly differently, where the onboarding experience again comes down to there would be a physical aspect to it where the customers are provisioning the physical connectivity, and you go through the LOA process, you go through the connectivity testing process. And then once all of that is set up, you can go ahead and build whatever overlays that the customers want. So again, that could be based on the SD-WAN use case, or it could be based on the site-to-site use cases.
So I feel like there's a benefit here that I've been feeling and not realizing until now, which is that it's the same contract, it's the same relationship, and there's a certain simplification in terms of, say, global application management.
Yes.
Because you don't have a second provider to work with.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the case, where we are kind of presenting this as that one network, and it's a one-stop shop where customers can get all of these different use cases kind of served.